So we're continuing our discussion about populating a dialog with data from a table in the on Dialog Initialize event, and we're looking now at the JavaScript response that got sent back to the browser, and we're seeing this JavaScript response here because we turned on the option to show debugging information. In a production application, of course, you wouldn't have this option turned on. So we're looking over here at this JSON object that is being populated, and this is the actual data that is being sent back to the dialog, which is then used in the dialog's populate method. But you can also see here that inside the dialog object there's state information where we keep a property called keys, which has the primary key of each row of data in the dialog. And so you can see here we're setting the primary key of the invoice header to 4 because that is the invoice header that we're looking at, and then we're basically setting the primary key of the customer record to 5 because that in fact is the record of the customer ID. And the reason that we need to know what the primary key is of each record in the dialog is that if we were to now go and make some edit, for example, let's go here and change that to Jones and then hit the submit button, we've now gone ahead and done an update of the database, and we need to know that we need to update customer ID number 5, so that primary key was stored in the in the grid object. So you can see now how easy it is to pre-populate a dialog when it's initially shown by using server-side action scripting. And if I go there and say view XBasic, I can see the XBasic that got executed. But I'd like to just finally discuss this one additional option over here, which is capture raw data. So I'm going to go there and say yes, and then I'm going to say that my variable for captured data is underbar data. And what this does is it returns to me, so inside my onDialog initialize code, in my own XBasic that follows this server-side action, if I would like to get access to any of the values that were retrieved from the underlying database, I can get those values inside this variable underbar data. So I can change the name of the variable, but I'll just leave it at underbar data. And now what I'm going to do is go there and put in a debug1 statement so we can actually see what's inside underbar data. So I'm going to go now and go into working preview. So at this point we've run the server-side action, and now if I were to go here and type in underbar data, what I get to see is the actual data that was used to populate the dialog. So for example, there is the city, there is the state, there is the company, and then for the repeating sections I can see, for example, description, and then underbar A5 instance 1, which is the value of the description in the first repeating section row, and there's the second repeating section row, etc. So all of the data that was retrieved from the underlying tables is available to me in this underbar data object, and then I can use that data in my script after this action has executed. So I'm free to use any underbar data value that I want in the onDialog initialize event. So that shows you over here how easy it is to populate the dialog when it's initially shown. And in the next video what I'm going to demonstrate is how after the dialog has already been rendered, how you can now go and make an AJAX callback to get data for a different primary key. So we'll stop now and pick this up in the next video.